Welcome back to 15 with Falska and to this very special edition of the podcast coming to you live from the 2025 Florence, Italy Extraordinary Speakers Conference. You do not want to miss my Q&A with life coach Chantelle Dodds, in which we discuss her talk, Let's Find You, breaking free from domestic abuse, reclaiming self-worth, and setting boundaries. And she tells us about her incredible journey of resilience, courage, and transformation. I'm grateful to Chantelle for sharing her time and her story with us, and stay right where you are and get ready to be inspired. Hello, Chantelle. Welcome to Extraordinary Speakers 2025 Florence. How are you doing today?
Very well, very well. Very happy to be here. Florence is stunning. Yeah, first time as well.
It's really nice to have you here. It's just nice to be at this amazing conference. And so what I'd like to talk to you about today is sort of what you're doing here, what you do, and what your contribution to the conference is today.
So my contribution is to help women understand domestic abuse, understand how to be able to get out of it, how to be able to heal from it, where they're then able to level up to a place where they can implement boundaries, understand what they want to tolerate, what they don't want to tolerate, and step into their power and really learn to love themselves, where they just create a whole new reality for themselves and leave behind anything awful that they've gone through or they may be going through, because sometimes even victims that do leave, if they don't do the healing process, they'll end up going straight back into the cycle. So it's breaking that cycle is what I'm trying to teach and make that change.
So you're a life coach.
I am, yes.
And you specialize though in domestic abuse.
I do, yes. So working with survivors and victims. I also do business coaching as well.
Okay.
So I help people create businesses alongside doing the inner work to ensure that, energetically they're balanced out right and it just booms. Yeah.
I don't think this is an easy field to be in. I mean, I think we talk a little more about domestic abuse now than maybe we did even 5-10 years ago, but the numbers are still kind of horrifying worldwide.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how you reconcile that reality with the work you do on the daily.
I think it's the reason why it is like that is because it's trying to get awareness of what is right and what is wrong. So a lot of it is ancestral and we don't realize that. So, we tolerate a lot of things that actually aren't good. It's abuse. You shouldn't be treated that way, nor should you be treating anybody else like that. But it's rewiring everything, isn't it? It's making that change and moving forward. We leave that behind, but we do the healing to make sure that it doesn't carry on through. So yeah, it's just really getting that voice out so people really actually learn and start rewiring the way, the actions, the thought processes, all of these things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a really, really good point, which is that you speak about it, use a word, you say ancestral. It's a very powerful word to use when you're talking about this, right? So you're looking at it in a way that I think is very complete, and that's how you can break the cycle, right? So you're trying to really get it. I mean, this is what I'm getting from you. So you really try to get into those patterns of behavior deeply.
Yes.
To ensure that the people you work with, your clients, are not going to fall into those same abusive situations. And I would imagine that those are both personal, in the domestic sphere, but they also translate out into the world, like beyond the four doors of the domestic realm, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
And so tell me a little more about what you're going to be talking to us specifically about today. Do you have sort of, a lot of the speakers we've heard so far have, toolboxes and, step 1 through step 6. And so what is your approach to transforming people so that they do break free of these shackles, this way of living that's so detrimental,
Yeah, so it's teaching people how to really go deep. So once you've whether you're in that relationship or you're not in that relationship, it doesn't even have to be a love relationship. It can be family, it can be friendships. When you start this work and you recognize that one relationship, whatever way it is in your life, is abusive, and you leave that, and then you start to really dig deep, and you go back into childhood, you start connecting with your inner child as well. You look at, okay, the patterns, things may have happened, what you were taught to tolerate, what you were taught how to behave, or, for instance, like how your parents were with you. It's really getting in deep and finding, is there a mother wound there? Is there a father wound there? Does that need to be healed? How your family would have been, raising you, for instance. So it's really going in deep and connecting there, healing those wounds that are there, to then be able to transform everything in your life. And when you do this, you end up then, it's like the tinted glasses come off, and then you're able to recognize in every relationship, whether it's right or it's wrong. And majority of the time, if you're someone that has sat in an abusive relationship, your friendships are going to be abusive. You're tolerating crap because you're a people pleaser. You've got, lack of boundaries. You tolerate things that you shouldn't be tolerating. You really see it all. So friendships, family, work, for instance,
absolutely.
is a massive one, and obviously your relationship. So you end up changing these things because you won't, as you're healing and you up level and you heal those wounds, you won't tolerate that anymore. So you end up losing these things that they're not serving you anyway. Right. You end up losing these relationships, and then you open up space for good, healthy, beautiful people to come in, and your life just changes because you change and you just see things completely different. Yeah.
It's very empowering what you've just said. I mean, working on such a deep level so that people also have that capacity to have, those alarm bells go off, right? No, this is not the kind of situation that I can be in anymore because I've evolved, I've gone beyond that. And I think that's incredible, because those are not easy. It's not easy to speak with your inner child and go and try and sort of, uncover all those reasons why you might make bad choices, whether in a relationship or a job or in a friendship. So I have a deep question for you, which is what first made you get involved in this kind of work? I mean, what was it that pushed you to help people who are going through this?
So for me, I come from a history of domestic abuse. I come from a history of sexual abuse as a child as well. So I grew up, got into my first relationship, which was abusive, really young. I was like 12 when it first started. Had 3 children out of that very young. It was bad. Came out of it and jumped in basically from one fire to another. Ended up in another relationship that was abusive, and then I ended up embarking on healing and spirituality. So I went and did this program with someone to try and heal, and that really empowered me to be able to leave the relationship I was in. So then from there, I was like, you start the healing process, you scratch the surface, and you're like, okay, I feel good, I can leave now, but you haven't quite got there.
You need to go deeper.
So then I met my third partner, who was very narcissistic, and that was really, because I'd opened the door to the healing, I was really in tune with myself. So I was really listening to myself. I was watching, like, as the body, gets sick with it as well. Like, I was really connecting with myself. So I went even deeper on a healing journey, where I was able to cut that relationship, which was, I have to say, was probably the worst, because I was really trauma bonded with that relationship. Managed to cut it, really dug deep, went and did a lot of healing, and then that's where the transformation happened. So I've completely done a 360, and I'm a completely different person to that woman that I was then to where I am now. And where I've seen the magic of this of this stuff,
Yeah.
I need to just like tell everybody,
Yeah.
just tell everybody in the world. It's very, it's a process, but it's going to be worth it. And you don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to be miserable. And you don't have to keep continuing life feeling that way and then end up betraying yourself by doing things that just don't suit you and don't feel right. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that is it. It's like magic that I just want to like give to everyone. So as much as I can tell everybody and teach everybody, that is my mission. Yeah.
Well, you are extraordinary. And it's sort of no coincidence that you're here today and you are an extraordinary speaker, because what you did was you really you went about healing in an extremely powerful way because you really wanted to live a better life. Mm-hmm. And now that you have found that magic, and I think it's right that you call it magic because it is magical, that you can emerge from this and be bigger and brighter and help so many people because because of your resilience, because you're an empath, because of the incredible work you've done, really putting in the work. And I think that I have to tell you, I think it's sometimes very intimidating for a lot of us. And just people in general, when you think of your past and even just a difference in culture, just the way we talked about these things even 5, 10, 15, whatever years ago, it is very important that we talk to people like you and that we see people like you out there who are saying you don't have to be defined by your past.
Yes.
You do not have to be a victim. You can pass from that to being not only a survivor, but to being extremely powerful, empowered. And I really think the work you're doing is magical because of what you bring into it. And so when was it? So it was at that point where you realized that you had this magical transformation and you realized that it was a calling, that you wanted to help other people.
It was, yeah. I think the first set of healing, I remember doing it, and I remember thinking at the time when I was doing it, I was thinking, I could never do this. I remember looking at my healer and thinking, God, I don't know how you do this. And then once I had seen the transformation, something was like, it's like the universe's way, isn't it? They show you where it is you're meant to be doing.
Always.
And it just feels like it lights you up inside. So yeah, I just knew from that moment. So I think doing that first set of healing, then going into the last relationship where it was really heavily narcissistic, that was a massive test as to how deep are you going to go to be able to get to where you are now, where you are able to actually teach how to do it. So yeah.
It's brilliant. How long a process was it for you, Chantelle? Like more or less years-wise? I mean,
it's good.
Because you're really young.
Yeah.
I mean,
thank you.
You are.
I think the process started with the healing about 2019, 2020. Mm-hmm. So now. So that's like what?
6 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
5-6 year process. And that's sitting in another abusive relationship. But it was such a lesson.
Which is unbelievable to me because so what was happening there? Alarm bells were going off, right?
Yeah.
So how did you, I'm sorry, and I'm just fascinated by this. So how did you extricate yourself from the situation? So you knew the alarm bells were going off because at that point you were deep enough into your magical transformation, right? So the alarm bells were going off, but you were still there.
Yeah.
So what did it take for you to finally then, I would think that for your clients, that's the best part, but it's also the hardest part, right? Yeah. So you've got the alarm bells going off, so okay, something's not cool here. Mm. But between that and then having the actual wherewithal and the courage to leave, what happened, Chantelle? What was the even more magical magic?
I think, that relationship there was a trauma bond that was created.
Yeah, you mentioned
with him.
That. Yeah.
So that was the thing that would keep me there because I would always be like, but there's a little bit of happiness that you get, but the rest of the time you feel like awful, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think I knew every day I would not every night I would not sleep. I'd wake up in the night and I'd lie there and I think, tomorrow is the day that you're going to leave. You are going to leave, okay? And the next day would come, and then the game would play, and he'll do something nice, and then I'd be like, okay, not today then. But then I would always feel that horrible betrayal against myself, and I would still feel awful. And then it just got to a point where it got so bad where it was affecting my mental health. I had the worst gut issues. I was getting poorly.
Keep everything there.
Yeah. That's where it sits. And you have that lump of emotion, that pain. It's a pain that sits there. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. Enough is enough. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. You know this is wrong. It's not right for you. You have to find that strength now to get out. You have to break that trauma bond that's been created, which is so hard.
I know.
But you need to get out. So I really just made that commitment to me, and I just went for it. I cut all contact. I went down and did so many different forms of holistic healing. I really changed the focus of everything I was doing. And while I was doing this process, it took about a good 6 months to really get you out of it, to be fair. And while you're going through it, like I said, the rose-tinted glasses come off. So I've left this now completely. I really am just in a completely different place of how I view things and what I want out of life and what I'm willing to have around me. And I end up, realizing, how families, they're no good, and it's you're having to make that cut because they're not going to change, they're not going to meet you where you're at, and I'm not going to have you around me because it's just going to end up betraying myself again. Friendships as well is exactly the same thing. Work environments is finding what's right for you, and it comes from finding that love for you. That's where it comes from, and then that's how you're able to, you maneuver in that place of love for yourself. I always say that self-love is like an unconditional love for a child. So, but you find that for yourself. You just do. You unlock the key and you find it, and then you just do. Every movement, action, everything you do is done from that place. But it's finding that, and when you do, keep it strong. Keep that fire lit.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chantelle. Thank you for what you're doing to help so many people find that key of self-love, which is not always easy.
It isn't. Yeah. It isn't. I know that firsthand, but get everyone there.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.